Hello. Today I want to talk about 6 novels that take us on epic journeys. And these are all books that have been shortlisted for the Best Published Novel category of this year's Wilbur Smith Adventure Writing Prize. And this is a book award that I've been following for a few years now, and I've discovered some really fantastic reads through it. In fact, one of my favorite books that I read last year, in which I keep talking about and which I now keep up here on my bookshelves because I loved it so much, is Saltblood by Francesca del Torres. And this actually won last year's award. And this is an incredible seafaring adventure. It has a fascinating heroine at the center of it. And it is just incredible. So I highly recommend this book as well. And the author is actually a judge on this year's award. So I really trust her taste. And if you've not come across this book award before, it is open to writers of any nationality that are writing in English, and it seeks to award the best adventure story that's been published in the past year. And these could be journeys that are either geographical or take us to a different time period. Now, the winner of this year's award is going to be announced on September 11th, and the prize has kindly sent me all the books on the short list, and they are sponsoring me to follow it. So I have read half of the short list so far. So I'm going to discuss my thoughts and feelings on those books, as well as giving brief summaries of the other 3 books. And I will go and read those other books and then make another video eventually. I'm talking about my thoughts and reactions to those, as well as ranking the books and talking about who I hope will win this year's award. So I would love to hear it. If you have read any of these books and what you think of them, and if you have any favorites to win, or if you are interested in reading any of them now. First, there is A House for Miss Pauline by Diana McCaulay. Now, Pauline Sinclair has been living in the same rural Jamaican town for her entire life, and she is approaching her 100th birthday. But she is far from a stereotypical old lady. She loves to swear and shock people by how much she curses, and she is locally famous for being a ganja farmer, a trade that she turned to out of desperation when her family were starving. One day, she believes that the walls of her home start speaking to her, so she embarks on a quest from the only place that she has ever known to reconcile a dark secret in her life. And in the process, she discovers things about herself, her own home, and the history of colonialism in Jamaica. And I love the way that time is represented in this story, where objects and different locations spark memories from her rich life. This is such a compelling tale, which is told with an arresting original voice. Diana McCaulay is an award-winning author and environmental activist, and I found it very touching reading the afterword of this novel, in which the author describes the inspiration behind it after discovering surprising things about her own family history. Redemption by Jack Jordan. This is a thriller that I found absolutely gripping. To be honest, this isn't the type of book that I would normally be inspired to pick up, but I had such a great time reading it. The story concerns Evelyn and Tobias, an English couple living in America whose son is tragically killed in a hit-and-run accident, and that driver, Aaron, has served a 10-year prison sentence, and he has just been released. And this is when the novel begins, because Evelyn, who is fiercely grieving the loss of her son, doesn't believe that Aaron has been sufficiently punished, and she is determined to kill him no matter what. The story revolves between these 3 characters of Evelyn as she embarks on her murderous quest, and Tobias as he tries to stop her, and Aaron, who is struggling with issues of drug addiction and rejection because of his homosexuality, struggles to readjust to life now that he has finally been released from prison. This takes place in the American Southwest desert as wildfires are rapidly spreading. So it is extremely atmospheric and psychologically insightful as it delves into the inner lives of these characters whose lives hang on a knife edge. And I stayed up late last night finishing this novel because I was so gripped by it. Jack Jordan has written several best-selling thrillers, so he's obviously very skilled at writing such a gripping story. Fundamentally, by Nussaibah Younis, this story follows Nydia, who takes a UN job in Iraq attempting to rehabilitate foreign women who have joined ISIS. Now, I know this makes the novel sound incredibly serious, but it is also very funny, warm-hearted, and entertaining. And I know that doesn't seem possible, but I think the narration strikes just the right tone where, in my opinion, the subject matter is handled sensitively, but it also tells a compelling tale. And Nydia sees this move and opportunity as a way of escaping a broken relationship and her puritanical mother, and we follow her as she grapples with the politics of an international aid organization and forms a connection with a London girl who joined ISIS when she was only 15 years old. This novel deals with big questions concerning religion and nationality, but it's written in such a down-to-earth and engaging way, and I loved reading it. It was also shortlisted for this year's Women's Prize for Fiction, and it was one of my favorites to win. The author has experience in international affairs, very similar to what's covered in the book, and it is an incredibly impressive debut. Then there are the novels I haven't read yet. Babylonia by Constanza Casati, and on the inside cover of this is a map, and you know I love maps on the inside covers of my novels, and this story reimagines the rise to power of the Assyrian Empire's only female ruler, Semiramis. She's born an orphan in the 9th century to very humble origins, but through her strength and determination, she rises to power. The story incorporates both myth and ancient history to tell a spectacular tale about a fascinating individual and evoke what life was really like in the world of Assyria. The author is a student of ancient Greek literature, and this is her second novel. Her first novel was Clytemnestra, which also incorporates mythology. Sycorax by Nydia Hetherington. This novel imagines the story of the most powerful witch Algiers has ever seen. She is disfigured by fire and shunned because of her special abilities, and she is the mother of Caliban, the famous character from Shakespeare's The Tempest. So this novel is kind of a prequel to that play. It's a fantastical tale, but one which also explores ableism, grief, loneliness, and misogyny. It's the author's second novel, and I've heard that in the afterword she gives a very moving account of what inspired this book. And finally, there is Water Moon by Samantha, Sotto, Yambao. This novel follows Hannah, who is set to take over her father's magical pawn shop business, but when she discovers that her father is missing and the shop has been ransacked, she and a customer embark on a journey through a world that is very unlike our own and which is filled with spirits and dreams. It explores the choices we make and the regrets that we have. And I've seen multiple readers compare the plot of this novel to Studio Ghibli films, but with more adult themes. And that makes me very intrigued to read it. So I'm very much looking forward to the books that I haven't read yet from the shortlist for the Wilbur Smith Adventure Writing Prize and seeing which one of these win on September 11th. But like I I said, I would love to hear if you have read any of these books and your thoughts about any of them, and if you're rooting for any of them to win, or if you're interested in reading any of them now. Please let me know about that in the comments below. But thank you for watching, and I hope you go on some amazing journeys and through books, through literature, and I will speak to you again soon. Bye-bye.